Ladies and gentlemen, last night I had the pleasure of seeing the new Clark Gable Myrna Lloyd picture, Too Hot to Handle, which the critics predict will one of be the biggest hits of the movie season. It's a picture full of thrills and some of the most sensational photography of a primitive country that I've ever seen. The shots were made in Netherlands, Guyana, about 174 miles from the famous French penal colony at Devil's Island. The men responsible for this part of the picture are with us tonight, Clyde Devine, a cameraman, and Dick Russin, director. Dick, Clyde, I understand that you were down in Netherlands, Guyana, for about 6 weeks.
That's right, George.
Clyde, I've always had an ambition to appear in a theater down there. I can just close my eyes and see my names in lights. George Jessel at Lowe's, Netherlands, Guyana. Ah.
I wish you'd been there last summer, although we didn't have much time to go to shows.
You were on a rush assignment, weren't you, Clyde?
Well, just to give you an idea, when we were starting down there, we saw posters of Too Hot to Handle in Miami, Florida. We really hustled, George. We air-mailed all our film as soon as it was shot.
Of course. You had a script with you, I suppose. Is that right, Dick?
Well, yes. The script called for certain things that weren't exactly a cinch to do. Tell George about our long shot of the native village, Clyde.
Well, we were taking shots of a little native village right in the middle of the thickest jungle I ever saw.
Yeah, just let me interrupt a second, Clyde. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Devine is one cameraman that's a connoisseur of jungles. He spent 2 years in Africa filming Frater Horn. Never got lost in a jungle, but it took him 2 hours to find an exit from the Coliseum last Saturday at the football game. Go ahead. Go right ahead.
Well, anyway, George, we were photographing this native village, and we received an order from Hollywood for a long shot of it.
So?
Well, you know that all you do in a long shot is to get a long ways from your subject, aim the camera at it, and crank it. But the trouble with this long shot was that the jungle was tight around the village, and you couldn't haul your camera back into the woods and shoot because the jungle was so thick.
Couldn't you get up on a hill and shoot down?
Could have, except for one thing.
What was that?
No hill.
Oh.
Whole country was as flat as a pool table, George.
Like my singing. I understand, of course.
Well, as a matter of fact, it was a physical impossibility to get a long shot of the village.
I see. Well, what did you do, boys?
We found a tree about 125 feet high. Spent 2 days cutting away branches that shut off the view, and rigged up a block and tackle and hoisted the 300-pound camera 100 feet up the tree. Then I climbed up and cranked out a long shot.
And I remember that shot in the picture. Now tell me, Dick Russin, did you have any other tough assignments?
Why, yes. We were supposed to photograph an actor carrying another fellow in his arms and wading into the river till he reached an airplane, then putting him aboard. We lined up the shot down by the bank of the river with a lot of natives standing around watching. And our man was just about to step into the river when one of the chiefs rushed into the scene and commanded us to stop.
A mere native chief gives orders to a director? Why, they can't do that.
In Netherlands, Guyana, they can.
I see.
Well, George, the chief sent up to the village and had somebody bring down a lot of fresh-killed beef and just dipped it into the stream. When he took it out, there was no more meat on it. Stripped clean as a whistle.
Sharks?
No, they were piranhas, a little cannibal fish. Their teeth are so sharp that, well, they can take a bite out of your leg without you even feeling it.
Yeah, like Eddie Cantor. I know. Now, I remember that shot in the picture, too, and I think you wound up taking the chap in the plane in a canoe. Is that right?
That's right. The fish don't eat canoes.
If they did, that really would be news. Well, boys, it's a great picture, and no wonder. When you have a fine producer like Larry Weingarten, you're bound to get great entertainment. With a director like Jack Conway and stars like Clark Gable and Myrna Lloyd, with Walter Hanley, Walter Pigson, and Leo Carrillo, the picture is a thrill a minute all the way. And the contribution that you fellas made will never be forgotten. Thank you, Dick Russin and Clyde Devine. Now, Ted Pearson.
Thank you, George. Friends, let me ask you, how long has it been since you've sat back in your chair after breakfast or after dinner and exclaimed,
"Say, that was one grand cup of coffee"?
Well, my guess is that because thousands more are drinking Maxwell House these days, why, naturally, more people are saying just that about their cup of coffee. Here's the reason. Everybody who's drinking Maxwell House today is enjoying coffee that's even richer and more delicious than ever before. So let me ask you, have you tried Maxwell House lately? If you haven't, then we believe you're missing the greatest coffee pleasure in your life. You see, Maxwell House coffee has actually been improved in 2 important ways. First,
this already superb blend of the world's choice coffees has been still further enriched. You'll taste this extra richness with your very first cup. You'll notice a new smoothness and mellowness that'll satisfy you, we believe, beyond any coffee you've ever known.
second,
This wonderfully enriched Maxwell House blend is now roasted by a new process called Radiant Roast. Now, radiant heat penetrates each coffee bean, gives it not just a surface roasting, but roasts it evenly through and through. Naturally, this means still more full flavor in your cup of coffee.
And that extra flavor, friends, is what you're missing if you haven't tried Maxwell House coffee lately. Discover this better coffee. It's at your grocer's now in the same familiar blue super vacuum can you've always known. Tomorrow, enjoy this coffee that now more than ever is good to the last drop.
Here's Meredith Wilson and his orchestra giving you their interpretation of the newest dance craze created by Irving Berlin for the Astaire Rogers musical, Carefree, the Yam. All right, Meredith, yum, yum. Let's make a yam session.